All right, welcome. We're about to dive into a skill that's absolutely critical for any anesthetist, securing a front-of-neck airway, or FONA. Now, if you're gearing up for your finals, this is one of those topics you really can't afford to skip. So let's get right to it. So picture this. It's the nightmare scenario that every anesthetist trains for, the can't intubate, can't oxygenate, or CICO situation. This whole explainer is designed to give you the confidence and the core knowledge to know exactly how to answer that question, not just in an exam, but more importantly, in real life. So first things first, let's be crystal clear about what we're talking about. Phonotechniques are the final life-saving move in any difficult airway algorithm. You only go here when every other option to get oxygen into the patient has failed. Yeah, these are invasive, high-stakes procedures. Sometimes they're planned, like a tracheostomy in the ICU, and sometimes they have to be done in the most extreme emergencies. But the one thing that's always true, you need a rock-solid, unshakable understanding of the anatomy. Before you even think about picking up a blade or a needle, you absolutely have to know the landscape of the neck. I mean, you have to master the surface anatomy. Think of it as your essential roadmap to success. So these are the 4 key landmarks you'll be feeling for, often under a ton of pressure and maybe with some tricky patient anatomy. You've got the thyroid notch, the cricothyroid membrane, which is your target, then the cricoid cartilage right below it, and the tracheal rings even further down. Now, this slide shows you the best way to find those landmarks. It's called the laryngeal handshake, a technique described by Levitan. You basically grip the larynx to hold it steady, then you use your index finger to confidently find that cricothyroid membrane. You need to practice this on yourself, on your colleagues, get it into your muscle memory. Okay, so let's switch gears from that emergency setting to a more planned procedure, the percutaneous dilatational tracheostomy, or PDT. This is something you'll see and do pretty frequently in the ICU. So why do we do them? Well, the reasons are pretty varied, but they all boil down to providing a stable, long-term airway when having a tube through the mouth is no longer the best option. This is classic exam stuff, by the way. You need to know why and when you'd consider a tracheostomy. You know, what's really interesting here is that you can actually see the evolution of the technique since Ciaglia first described it way back in 1985. We've gone from using a bunch of different dilators to single-step methods, special forceps, and even balloons. And while no one technique has been proven to be better than the others, the one you use usually comes down to your training and what equipment your hospital has. And remember this, it's not just about getting an airway, it's about getting the right airway. The UK's 4th National Audit Project, or NAP4, was a huge deal. It was a landmark study that really highlighted how often ill-fitting tubes cause major complications. You have to think about the patient's specific anatomy, like their weight or neck shape, and what they need clinically. Okay, let's shift gears back to that scenario that gets everyone's heart rate going, the high-stakes, can't intubate, can't oxygenate emergency. This is when you'd perform a cricothyrotomy. This quote, it really says it all. It captures a huge evidence-based shift in how we practice. The data from that NAP4 project was incredibly clear. Needle cricothyrotomy just failed way too often. And that's what led the Difficult Airway Society to update its guidelines and standardize the approach for this exact scenario. For your exam, you have to know these 4 steps cold. It's simple, but every step matters. First, identify with a handshake, then a transverse stab incision. Slide the bougie into the trachea, railroad the tube over it, and then confirm with capnography. This scalpel bougie tube technique is fast, it has a high success rate, and it actually lets you ventilate properly, which is why it's the standard of care now. So let's apply all this to a classic and truly dangerous post-op situation, the expanding neck hematoma after someone's had thyroid or parathyroid surgery. This is a real test of both how fast you recognize the problem and how fast you respond. First, you've got to spot the problem before it becomes a full-blown catastrophe. And that's where the DSATS acronym comes in. It's your mental checklist for the early warning signs. So that's D for difficulty swallowing, E for rising early warning scores, S for swelling, A for anxiety, T for tachypnea, and then the last S, which is the late and really bad sign of stridor. Okay, so once you recognize that the airway is in trouble, you have to act immediately. The SCOOP algorithm gives you the life-saving steps to relieve that pressure right there at the bedside. S for skin exposure, C for cut the sutures, O for open the skin, another O for open the strap muscles, and P for pack the wound. This has to be done right away, no hesitation. Okay, that was a lot of information. So let's boil it all down into the most critical, high-yield points that you absolutely need to remember for your exam. Think of these as your golden rules. This one is a mental barrier you just have to break through. When you've hit the end of the difficult airway algorithm, you cannot hesitate. Committing to a FONA is the decision that is going to save that patient's life. Rule number 2. In that specific can't intubate, can't oxygenate situation, this is the technique. Period. The guidelines are super clear. Focus your practice and your mental rehearsals on these exact steps. And rule number 3, you can't do the procedure if you can't find the landmarks. It's that simple. One of the key reasons FONAs failed in the NAP4 study was a failure to identify the cricothyroid membrane. The laryngeal handshake is your key to making sure that doesn't happen. And finally, for that specific clinical emergency, these mnemonics are designed to save lives. It's easy. DSATS helps you spot the problem early, and SCOOP tells you exactly what to do to fix it, right then and there. By the way, all the information we've covered today, from the anatomy to the latest guidelines, it all comes directly from a key review article. It's called Front of Neck Airway, Percutaneous Tracheostomy and Cricothyrotomy, and it was published in 2022. It's an absolutely fantastic resource for your exam revision. And that really brings us to the final and most crucial point. Reading this and watching this is a great first step, but this is a procedural skill. The knowledge is vital, of course, but it's the hands-on practice in a simulated environment that will truly prepare you for the day you might have to do this for real.